Thank you, everyone. That concludes tonight's live broadcast portion of our meeting. And I will move us on to item J, general public comment. The public is allowed to speak on issues or items that are not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to issues or items germane to the business of the governing body. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. Okay, and this would open public comment. It is now open. Yep, go ahead, sir.
Hello, I'm Richard Haig, and I've got two things I want to talk about the airport this evening. One is the large solar farm that's been proposed out in the county in the vicinity of the airport. The solar panels themselves don't affect the flights unless the reflection interferes with approaching air traffic. But they have gone to where they're putting storm retention ponds and different management for stormwater runoff on that project. And that can directly affect the airport, kind of like the sand quarry would have years ago when there was creating a pathway over the airport for migratory birds. And a customer of ours actually authored an executive order under Reagan. It's executive order number 12372, which states that if a project can affect a federally funded project, it needs to be reviewed by all governing bodies. So once the county does get to where they've got a stormwater drawing and a plan for it, it would be great for the city of Lawrence to be involved and make sure that that does not affect our airport and future use of our airport. And that may regard to taking their waves with it, where the FAA won't get involved with the solar panels, they will get involved with the wildlife hazards and have the FAA just review their plan to make sure it does not have any long-term effects on our airport. And the second thing is, last September, I came in front of the board and commission and talked about things that were going on at the airport. And one of the things has resulted in an FAA complaint. So the city has to respond to that FAA complaint. The other thing that I brought up was the stalemate of a proposal for the airport. And Dream Aviation proposal is still not moved forward at all. They've made efforts and efforts and efforts. It's gone in front of the Aviation Advisory Board 3 times. It's in subcommittees. And it just hasn't moved forward. We've only built one hangar at the airport in 15 years with a lot of interest. We have people almost fighting over our airport right now, which is resulting in some of the issues that we have now, but nothing has been able to move forward. And I would appreciate if the commission would investigate that and find out what it is going to take to get people to be allowed to build at the airport and advance the airport economically. Because all these plans that have been put out there are huge. But if you look at the Aviation Advisory Board, this one plan is the only one that's been put in front of them. A lot of them have been put to the city management and the airport manager, but none of them have stepped forward except for this one. And he's just hit the roadblock and delay. So I'd like to see what it would take to actually get something moving out at the airport. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, can you see me? I don't have a hand or raise.
Sir, we'll get to go ahead Zoom public comment after the public comment here in house. So
Apologize, Mayor.
He's part of our. Yeah, I'd like him to go first.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was part of your group.
I didn't see him up there until I got here, but
okay.
First, and then I'll follow.
Okay. Well, it's yeah. All right. Cynthia's part of your group.
Are you asking for me, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Mr. Musil. Since
Okay.
you're part.
Thank you, sir. I didn't know who was going to be there live, but my name is Greg Musil. I'm an attorney with the Rouse Fretz Law Firm here on behalf of the Albemarle Neighborhood Association, a group of interested folks representing over 1,100 residences in the western part of your city that are a good example, a proud example of the heritage of Lawrence, and they would like to keep it that way. I'm here to urge commissioners to consider a prudent and cautious approach to the current land development code review. The Albemarle Neighborhood Association has specific concerns about the impact on existing neighborhoods. A most specific example is a portion of the plan that would blanket rezone RS7 areas into more dense areas such as RS2 or similar districts that will dramatically change the nature of this neighborhood as well as other parts of the city, including the loss of green space should the Albemarle golf course or parts of it be rezoned to more heavily dense residential. A thorough review of the land development code may be timely, but we hope it will be done carefully and deliberately. There's a significant amount of concern among your citizens that the effort may have progressed too far, too fast, and with too little focus on protecting existing neighborhoods. We request that upon completion of the steering committee's final draft, the commission establish a 90-day period for review by citizens and frankly by the governing body and planning commission, which some members of which have not been directly involved. The code revisions will presumably be here for years. It would not hurt to take it slow and make sure we get it right before considering its final approval. I thank you very much for your time and your public service. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Commissioners, thanks to Greg. Appreciate you making the comments. I'm Scott Robinson. Many of you know me. I'm the president of the Albemarle Neighborhood Association. That was a meeting that I forgot to go to, and I was nominated to be that. So just so you know, we attended the most recent Planning Commission meeting, and a representative from the Lawrence Area Neighborhood Association made a request for the 90-day review of the plan once it's actually completed. That was a unanimous decision by the neighborhood group that had met a week or so before that, and his request was basically, for all intents and purposes, quashed by the consultant, Elizabeth Garvin, who stated that that was just too long of a period to wait, and that what we should be doing is looking at the plan as it is on the books right now, because that's pretty much the plan. And our experience with that is that it's pretty much not the plan, because there are little changes going on all the time based on public comment, et cetera, that are changing the plan that's going to come to be presented to you folks. And so I'm here today to reiterate our request for what I'd consider to be a 90-day cool down period when the Planning Commission actually has determined this is the plan they want you to look at, because that's the plan that we want to look at, just to see what it says. We have concerns about that. We've been talking to our neighbors extensively over the recent months, and many of them have no idea that this land development code is being revised carte blanche. Most of them that find out about that are pretty concerned and upset about that. And so, as Greg reflected, and as we've learned, we're concerned about that as well. So I wanted just to get that on the minutes. Our request is that we have concerns about the effects of these changes carte blanche, serious concerns. And we would like you to know that, and hopefully the Planning Commission will respond to our request. Again, this request comes from not just the Albemarle Neighborhood Association, but all the neighborhood associations that met and agreed on that. Thank you.
My name is Randy Swain. I'm a resident of Albemarle, and from 1974 to 1987, I worked for Bob Billings to help grow Albemarle from a relatively small area to over 3,000 acres, which today pays 40% of the taxes of Douglas County. Bob devoted his life to developing Albemarle, and with strong support of Lawrence City Manager Buford Watson, it checks all the boxes of Plan 2040. It offers a mix of retail, office, University Research Park, plus a wide range of housing. There are below market apartments. There are neighborhood duplexes. There are several townhomes in various neighborhoods, and of course, single family homes. We support LDC changes for greenfield development, but oppose it for infill development. Greenfield buyers will have a clear understanding of what's going to go on around their homes, but existing homeowners who purchased homes between 1968 and 2023 a period of, I think, 55 years. I did that math in my head. Shouldn't be impacted by this. It'll have a severe negative impact on the value of their homes and their lifestyle. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Potdorf. My wife and I, Judy and I, live at 1929 Carmel Drive in what is commonly known as the Albemarle 9. We bought our house in Albemarle when I retired from the Army after 29 years of service and 14 moves and many schools for our kids. We chose Lawrence and Albemarle because of what it represents. We lived in apartments, duplexes, a variety of military and civilian housing during my military career. And we appreciate the need for increased housing opportunities in Lawrence. We certainly understand the underlying goals of the rezoning process that Greg and Scott and Randy have talked about. But a one-size-fits-all approach ignores the contributions that Albemarle has to the attractiveness and beauty of our neighborhood, of our cities, and the other neighborhoods. Replacing those open spaces is just not something that is appropriate or would frankly meet Plan 2040 and its goals. Again, we picked our home on Albemarle 9 because of the tranquil beauty and quiet associated with those open spaces. We're not golfers. We're not trust fund people. We worked hard to have what we have, and we would like to continue to enjoy the natural beauty and quiet of Albemarle. As reflected in the request from Greg and the others, we ask that you direct the steering committee to take a 90-day timeout and, frankly, direct the consultant to revise those recommendations with respect to rezoning to protect not only the Albemarle open spaces, but those other open spaces that would be subject to rezoning should this thing not be amended. Appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Hello, Commission. Thank you for your service. My name is Eric Bloom. I live at 2011 Hogan Drive. I'd like to thank Scott, Brandon, Jim, and actually Richard, one of our best people in the whole city right there. And if he says something needs to be done at our airport, I agree with him. I don't have a better thing to say what these gentlemen said, the lawyer said. I tried to approach this my other way, but I am also concerned about some of the infill that would be presented if we change some of our building code. And I was actually reading my kid a goodnight story from Calvin and Hobbes, and it actually hit me with what I thought would be better than anything I could come up with. So I'm just going to read aloud if that's okay. It says, hey, what happened to all these trees here? Who cleared out all the woods? There used to be a lot of animals here in this woods. Now it's just mud pit. The sign says future site of Shady Acre condominiums. Animals can't afford condos. Shady Acres, the only shade I see is from that bulldozer. Where are all the animals supposed to live now that the trees are all cut down and these woods are put into houses? By golly, how would people like it if animals bulldoze a suburb and put in new trees? No good, they didn't leave all the keys. It took hundreds of years for these wood to grow and they leveled it in a week. It's gone. After they build new houses here, they'll have to widen the roads and put up gas stations, and pretty soon the whole area will just be a big strip. Eventually there won't be a nice spot left anywhere. I wonder if you can reprise the Inherit the World. I think you've born, it's too late. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Patrick Ross, 66049. I'm happy to have the folks from Albemarle here. Land development, city code has been a pressing issue in the city of Lawrence, and I'm a member of the Save the Wakarusa River Valley group. We've got a lot of eyes on that, and we could use more. If you'd like us to join our movement and the open space in and around Lawrence. I wrote a poem here. It's called All Aboard the Big Pig. Paint still fresh. Try not to get seasick. The 8th of June on 9th. Grab hold of the mast if need be. No cars allowed. U.S. bank windows. Library meetings. Summertime in Lawrence. The dunk tank. Friends of the Caw. Habitat for Humanity. Minutes whereas hours. 12 a.m. sound ordinance. The waves roll on. Good bands. Good shows. High tide. Just wait till the lights kick on. Starboard side. Pull the nets out when you're done fishing. What if 9th Street had a trolley and 2 bikeways? What if we built things like Tokyo? Wetlands split by highway, water circulation. Storms on the high sea. lightning, fire, and rain. Public comment discussions, Chris Flowers, wildflowers, the bourgeois, the proletariat, the precariat, bar drawings, gatekeeping, traffic barriers, water troughs, alleyways, hidden routes, alternative approaches, infill authority. FEMA wants you to talk to Amy Miller. The Army Corps wants more. Talk to John Haas, he'll tell you. The planning staff has no authority to make the legal determination of an appellant's standing. Once filed and scheduled with the BZA, the planning director has no authority to withdraw the appeal from the BZA. Article 12 is ignored. BZA sovereignty, due process, 14 days. 7:30 a.m. study plans tomorrow. On this block, we allowed the consumption of alcohol. Don't worry, the rains are coming. Edible glitter. It's smoky at replay. Seconds make up minutes. Anchors away. Blue overalls, Indian bread. There's a shield waiting for you. It floats on the water. Sit underneath the tree. Trains on the river. That platform's low on water. Don't worry, the rain is here. Indian art stores. Coal broad enough. Pull up the anchor. Closing time. You could use the porta potty. What if she comes here? I might cry. Let's get married. Showgirls, showboys. Glennis and Virginia Slims. Art breaks. The wind's picking up. Balloons and plants are blown overboard. Once you dock, you'll ride home in the rain. Don't tell anyone about this or it'll change. Where'd the boat go? I swear it was here. How do you put 30 years in minutes? This building's really old. I hope it doesn't fall. The Port Authority of Lawrence is in good hands. Just say capitalist. The pig likes it. Thank you.
I'm not going to bother bringing you guys any more issues. There's no point. There's no real point. But I do want to talk about a negligent failure to train and supervise. The city has ratified and approved the actions of each of the defendants as the city police department and these defendants continue defending and justifying all of the conduct. Notice that you've got your city staff and your attorneys out of here. That's a good thing because they're the ones that are responsible for a lot of this. Defendant City of Lawrence and its police department owed the citizenry a duty of care to hire and retain and supervise competent law-abiding officials. Defendant City of Lawrence breached its duty of care by hiring and retaining and improperly supervising each of the named city officials. I've learned in 4 years that talking to you people means dick. Even the ones that have been nice and had meetings, you guys have been nothing more than lip service. I haven't seen any actual production out of any of you towards any of the real issues that I brought up here. One of the things about a negligent failure to train and supervise is you don't have any kind of plausible deniability, as LPD likes to put it. They have their own form of plausible deniability, but you don't. Because when it comes time for you to answer the question from an attorney in a federal courtroom, when were you made aware that these problems existed with the Lawrence Police Department? I'm going to be there. When it comes time to answer the question, when were you made aware that there were problems with the Homeless Initiatives Division in a federal courtroom? I'm going to be there. 6 terabytes and counting, guys. 6 terabytes of video I've got documenting the bullshit in this town. I'm done asking you to fix it. I'm going to sue the fuck out of you. And I'm going to encourage everybody else to do the same. Anybody that needs help contacting an attorney or getting something started on a real actionable item where they have evidence, get a hold of me. Because I can make those connections now. These folks up here have given me that ability through your obstinance, your idiocy. None of you would step up and try to do the right thing when Bart was violating constitutional rights. None of you have stepped up and tried to do the right thing when your police department continues to do it. I give up. I have nothing more for you guys, but the performance will continue, if that's what you want to call it. The performance will continue.
Looks like there's no additional public comment here in the room. Sherry, any on Zoom?
Chris Flowers.
Hi, this is Chris Flowers. I have a few things. I want to start off. I've been thinking, and I want to take credit for y'all not recording the public comment and showing it, because I was thinking, like, the Fink said that we're stopping the public, like, recording public comment and showing it because the public was becoming too performative. But if you look at it, like, the ones that were cussing y'all out, they weren't being performative. That's just how they feel. I was the one that was being performative when I was pretending to be an old woman, when I was doing a sarcastic bit. And yes, that's performative. And here's the thing: you're acting like, well, you shouldn't be performative. But here's what I want to say to you all: if we're not supposed to be performative for the public, then why are you having us meet with y'all in front of the public? This idea that, oh, it's a conversation between the commissioners and the person speaking, that's kind of bullshit, because we're doing it in front of an audience, and you're telling us that you're going to have us speak to you all in front of an audience, and we're just supposed to ignore the audience? That's fucking bullshit. If there's an audience and I'm speaking in front of it, I should have the right to perform for that audience while also speaking to you all. And if you don't want me doing that, then don't have me speaking to y'all in front of an audience. You could clear out that room and just have each person come speak to y'all, like line up outside the door and come in one at a time and speak to you all. But we all know what public comment's for. And I think we know that the city wants it recorded. We want to see it. I mean, that's why we do it that way, because we want to make sure you all aren't doing anything kind of shady. And speaking of that, if you all are going to like respond to that neighborhood group, I don't want you doing it tonight, because now that public comment's not being recorded, I don't think it's fair for you all to address any of their concerns when the camera's not rolling. I think you should have to wait till next week during commission items. I mean, if you're not going to record stuff, that's the way it should be now. So I just want to throw that out there. Oh, and then also Sellers isn't here this week, but I just want to throw out something I read in the Times. Sellers said she didn't think there needed to be a broadcast, and that the meeting minutes could reflect the high level
that's time. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
That's all the comments, Mayor.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and bring us back. And with that,
Move to adjourn. Second.
first and second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved 4. 4-0, 1 absent. All right. Good night, everybody.
Hi,